Hey everybody. I have been thinking a lot about Percy Jackson Season 2. It's coming out this year. I didn't really talk much at all about Season 1 or the show in general before it came out because I wasn't really in a position to do so. So I haven't really told you guys at all what I thought about it. I watched it. That's the best I could say. But this video isn't even really about Percy Jackson. It's just, it's got me thinking about other things, other TV shows that are coming out based on books, especially books that have been adapted before, particularly Harry Potter. It was announced quite some time ago that HBO, or Warner Brothers, is reworking the Harry Potter series of books from the 90s to 2000s into a TV series for Max. I have had a lot of thoughts about that for a while. Mostly, is it necessary? And the short answer to that is no. I don't necessarily think that you have to readapt those books so soon, but as we know, Warner is kind of hemorrhaging money. A lot of things have not been going very well for them, particularly for WB Games, with Mortal Kombat 1 kind of flopping, and with Lord of the Rings Gollum flopping very heavily, and with that Kong game flopping, and the Monsterverse game flopping, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League flopping, and Gotham Knights flopping. WB Games has had it pretty rough recently. And in the movie department, things haven't been super great. Obviously, Barbie was a smash hit. And The Batman was successful as well, and so was Dune Part 2 and Wonka. But, like, Blue Beetle was not, The Flash was not, Shazam! Fury of the Gods was not, Black Adam was not, Don't Worry Darling was not. So they're struggling in a lot of ways. And so, obviously, the safest and smartest thing for them to do, even though the most recent Lord of the Rings movie didn't do well, the best thing for them to do is to dip back into what was successful before. I'm not here to discuss J.K. Rowling and whether or not you want to support anything that she's attached to, because we do know that she will be involved with this TV show. I don't care. None of that is what I'm here to discuss. I just kind of want to think about the advantages and drawbacks from readapting a franchise like Harry Potter so soon. The first thing is that the movies still hold up pretty well even now. I want to say that I rewatch the Harry Potter movies front to back just about once a year, every single year without fail. And yeah, the CGI isn't great, but I mean, it was in 2001 when the first movie came out, you know? So I think, like, as far as CGI and special effects and direction, they do hold up. Now, I will admit that the second half of the franchise is not as good as the first half, because when I can't even remember the guy that directed those last few. Once he was brought on, I keep wanting to say David Ayer, but that's definitely not it. When he was brought on, the direction style of the films got a lot more boring visually, and the movies got very dark visually, in tone as well. And you could say that it's thematic and it's supposed to match the subject matter, but it doesn't strike me as being on purpose when you watch Half-Blood Prince and you realize you can't see anything at all. Like, you can't see a damn thing that's happening in the Half-Blood Prince. But if we're being honest, looking at those 8 movies, they're good, serviceable adaptations, right? They do a good enough job of communicating the main plot of each book to film, with one striking exception, and that would be Half-Blood Prince. Pardon the interruption, it's your boy Toxic Boyo, and I wanted to take a brief moment to let you know about the Toxic Touch Productions Patreon. I'm not currently monetized on YouTube, but I still want to bring you the best content that I possibly can. I want to make those videos that you love, and I want them to be the best that they can be. But I need a little help. That's where you guys come in. If you want to support me directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/ToxicTouchProductions, or click the link in the description or the pinned comment. For even just $5 a month, you can get your name included in the credits at the end of the video, gain access to exclusive channels on the Discord, and you get specialized merch at no extra cost. It only gets better as the tiers go higher. Go check it out. Thanks for listening and thanks for supporting my dreams. Now let's get back to the video. I think most people can agree that that is one of the weaker movies in the franchise. It is not a very good adaptation, hardly at all. But, I mean, 1 out of 8, you still get a B, you know? So I can accept that, because the movie is still entertaining for the most part. I find Half-Blood Prince to still be funny and charming. I think Alan Rickman's really good in it. That's another thing that I want to talk about is the cast. I think with a few small exceptions, Harry Potter was expertly cast. Damn near perfectly. I think they had a great golden trio. Neville, Malfoy, Lucius and Draco, and Narcissa, Bellatrix, Sirius, Snape. I don't really want to say Dumbledore, so I won't. But McGonagall, so many characters were cast so well. Especially the guy that got to play Peeves. I'm kidding. Peeves isn't in the movies. And neither is Ludo Baggins. But, I mean, the entire Weasley family, perfectly cast, right? And the unfortunate thing, when you're playing a character that has been played by somebody before, is you will be ceaselessly compared to them. Especially if you're the first one to do it after that person. And so the thing that I hope more than anything is that great care is taken for the casting of this show. Because it's not like we can stop it from happening just by hoping that it doesn't, right? I just want great care to be taken when it comes to casting these characters. These characters that mean so much to so many people. You know, Tonks and Lupin. There's just so much to get right. Which also, I hope that they're willing to cast non-American actors. Because I've heard a lot of people say that Adam Driver would make a great Snape. And I tend to agree. We've all got our hopes, you know, like people have been saying that they want Andrew Garfield to play Lupin. That could be cool to see. I've heard Benedict Cumberbatch is Voldemort. I don't necessarily think he would do that, but it would be cool. But the most important thing with the cast is the kids, obviously. If Harry, Hermione, and Ron aren't cast well, then you don't really have a show. But I just really hope that those kids are taken care of and that they are kept away from social media because people are going to freak out. Particularly, one thing, I will talk about JK very briefly. She said that Hermione was black the whole time, right? Or specifically that she didn't say that Hermione wasn't black in the books. That kind of colors, no pun intended, your perspective on certain things that happen with Hermione, like in Goblet of Fire, when she wants to lead a revolution for the house elves that are slaves, and everybody just starts gaslighting her. They're like, Hermione, you idiot. What if, you know, think about things this way. What if the elves like being slaves? It's weird to have a black girl at the center or something like that, right? But that's what JK said. So if they get a young black girl to play Hermione, people are going to shit themselves. I mean, look at what's happening with a somewhat black girl playing Astrid in the How to Train Your Dragon remake. They can't handle it. Even though she barely looks black. She's just like a little bit darker than everybody else, and they just can't handle it. I find that to be disheartening. But even beyond that, I think that doing the Harry Potter books as a TV show could help and hurt the project. Because each book represents 1 year of Harry's life, from when he's 11 to when he's 17. Minus the epilogue. And for as long as they could, they had the movies coming out every year. And then they started coming out every 2 years, and then the Deathly Hallows movies were back-to-back years. So Daniel aged maybe 10 years over the course of making those movies. But I feel like a TV show takes so much longer to make. A season of television, assuming that like we do the first 3 books in like 8 episodes, and we do the last 4 in 12 episodes because those books are so much longer. Um, and assuming that each episode is about an hour long, you're basically filming 4 movies worth of content, right? And so the kids are going to get old much faster. And I hope that that doesn't translate to them cutting corners. I don't want them to start combining things from different books to adapt the whole thing faster just because the kids are getting older. But at the same time, if this takes too long to pull off, you're going to have a Stranger Things issue where the kids looked like children at the beginning and now they look like, you know, like they're in their mid-20s, because they will be by the time season 5 of Stranger Things actually releases. And so with that, you have to be consistent. You can't take breaks like Stranger Things does. You can't have 3-4 years passing in between the seasons releasing, because people will lose interest. And your actors will age out of the roles, and it'll just be incredibly difficult to believe. That's something that we're already looking at with the Percy Jackson series, because Walker Scobell is already way taller than he was when they filmed season 1, and his voice is way deeper. And so even though, you know, the events of Sea of Monsters only take place about a year after the events of The Lightning Thief, Walker will be about 3 years older than he was by the time season 2 comes out, because he was cast in that role, I want to say, in 2021. And so you have to consider elements like that when you're approaching something like this. I think that it could help to adapt these books into a TV show, because there's so much content that gets trimmed out when you're taking a 300-page book and making it into a 2.5-hour movie, or when you're taking a 600-page book and adapting it into a 2-hour movie. Because Order of the Phoenix is not a very long movie, but it is quite a long book. It was the longest book yet, you know. I think it is still longer than Deathly Hallows, if I'm not mistaken. And it ends up being the second shortest movie, I believe. And so that's a little disappointing. And so there are whole things like The Spew, like Ludo Baggins, like Peeves. There are so many elements that just add character, that add color, that add perspective, and add depth and nuance to the Wizarding world that just didn't make it to the movies. And so for the sake of having more thorough and more loyal and more direct, more accurate adaptations, yes, I do think it's a good idea to do a TV show. But, I mean, to what end? You know, like, a lot of us complain about Goblet of Fire for not being a very good adaptation because it rushes from one thing to the next. But what are we supposed to do? You know, I don't think most people want it readapted, because in a movie, you can't do it any better. And in a TV show, it's difficult, because the Harry Potter books start as like fantasy mystery novels, right? It's a coming of age story, but like each book is a fantasy mystery. First book, what is the Philosopher's Stone and who's trying to get it? Is it Snape? If it's Snape, then what does he want with it? Second book, who opened the Chamber of Secrets? Who's the heir of Slytherin? And who's trying to open the Chamber of Secrets now? Third book, you know, why did Sirius Black betray James and Lily Potter? What does he want with Harry now that he's out? Why does Lupin disappear every month, you know? Stuff like that. There's a mystery to each book. They kind of start veering off towards fantasy action towards the end, mostly in... I would say it's really all in Deathly Hallows. But when you're adapting books like that, you want to make a fantasy action series. You want it to be interesting. Like kind of the route that they went when they adapted the Lord of the Rings books into action movies. But they don't come across as a betrayal of the source material because you don't really lose anything from those books except for like some character moments and the music. But all of the DNA of Lord of the Rings is still there. If you adapt these books into TV shows, there will be so many slow episodes where nothing happens. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, say we... my mind keeps coming back to Goblet of Fire because it's my second least favorite adaptation. People have been like, oh, I hope we get a whole episode just for the Quidditch Cup, and it's like, do you really want to watch an hour of Quidditch where Harry's not playing? It's like, well, it establishes Victor Crumb. It's like, I guess, but does that really help anything? I mean, they'll probably do a whole episode just for the Yule Ball. What would be nice is an hour, or like an episode revolving around each trial. You know, an hour about, an episode just about the Dragon Egg, an episode just about the lake, and an episode just about the hedge maze, but then what? You know? Half-Blood Prince, not a lot happens in that book until, like, the last quarter, so the first, you know, whoa. Anyway, the first 9 episodes of that season would kind of be boring. It would be, like, I don't know. For the sake of keeping as much detail from the book as possible, yes, a TV show makes sense. But for the sake of consistently entertaining content that keeps people watching year after year, I don't necessarily think so. I mean, you get to the Deathly Hallows, and most of it is just them walking around, going from place to place. You know, they don't even really start destroying a whole bunch of Horcruxes till way later in the book, because they had to figure out how to even find them. So I don't know. I guess the whole point of me rambling like I have in this video has been to say that a Harry Potter TV series could be good. Or it could not be very good. And there's really no way to know until it comes out. There's still no release date. I don't expect it to start airing this year, because if it were to air this year, they would have said something by now. They haven't even announced a cast or a director or anything like that as far as I know, so it's still in pre-development, which is a good sign. It tells me that they're not, you know, trying to rush this thing out, and that's good, but it is concerning. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think that a Harry Potter series, television series that is, will be better than the movies? Or will it not even come close? Will it fall way short? Will it be about on par? What do you guys think? I'm actually really curious to know that, so just go ahead and let me know in the comments, please. I'm sure that the comments on a video regarding Harry Potter will be very helpful and positive and productive. I'm sure of it. Anyway, I'll see you later.